Have you ever felt the invisible pain hidden in the silence of a man? Someone you are certain has feelings for you, yet suddenly keeps his distance? Perhaps you've seen the longing in his eyes and noticed the small gestures that show he wants to get closer. But instead of expressing his feelings, he hesitates, even withdraws, as if an invisible wall stands between you. It's confusing, even hurtful. You wonder, did I do something wrong? Is he playing a push and pull game in love? Or is there a deeper reason why he chooses silence over expressing his feelings? If I told you that behind this behavior lies not just hesitation or shyness, but a deeply complex psychological mechanism unfolding in his mind, a truth that could completely change the way you understand love and relationships, would you want to know? Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal might make you see everything in a new light. First, we must understand a fundamental truth. Men and women do not experience or express emotions similarly. Due to natural instincts and societal conditioning, women often find it easier to share their feelings, seek connection, and express what they truly feel. They are not afraid to talk about their sadness, joy, or desires because, to them, expressing emotions is a crucial part of building strong relationships. This is not just a natural trait, but a profound strength that allows women to understand themselves better and form deep, meaningful connections with others. But men are different. From a young age, many are taught to be strong, in control of their emotions, and never show weakness. They grow up believing that expressing too much emotion could make them appear inadequate or vulnerable. So when faced with intense emotions, such as deep longing, desire, or even profound love, men do not always express them as openly as women do. Instead of decisively moving toward the woman they are drawn to, they may hesitate or even unexpectedly pull back. This silence often leaves women feeling confused or even hurt. Their natural reaction is to believe that if a man truly likes them, he will take action, express his feelings, and do whatever it takes to get closer. When he suddenly becomes distant or withdrawn, women tend to assume that he is indifferent, uninterested, or worse, that he never really liked them. But the truth is far more complex. A man's silence, in many cases, is not a sign of indifference, but rather an expression of inner conflict. When a man feels a deep connection with a woman, not just physical attraction, but a true longing, he may become overwhelmed. He might worry that he's not good enough, that he's not ready, or that expressing too much could make him lose the sense of control he's always relied on. And because of this, instead of moving forward, he may unexpectedly withdraw. If you've ever been in this situation, pause before jumping to conclusions. Don't be too quick to assume he doesn't care. Beneath that silence, there may be an internal battle he hasn't yet figured out how to navigate. From a young age, most men are taught that emotions are dangerous, a double-edged sword that can cloud judgment, disrupt control, and even stand in the way of success. Society praises strong, composed, and self-disciplined men, while subtly viewing strong emotional expressions as a sign of weakness. As a result, many men grow up believing that letting emotions take over is simply unacceptable. When a man feels himself becoming too immersed in his emotions, whether it's love, desire, or even pain, he may experience a sense of losing the stability he has always known. This isn't just about fearing emotional pain. At a deeper level, it's a fear of losing himself. For men, control isn't just about suppressing or hiding emotions. It's a way to maintain their identity, uphold their autonomy, and protect their sense of self. The more accustomed a man is to controlling his emotions, the more afraid he becomes when faced with too intense feelings. If his love for a woman runs too deep, he may feel like he's being swept into a storm with no way out. Instead of surrendering to the natural flow of his emotions, he may react by pulling away, creating distance, or falling silent. Not because he doesn't care, but because he's struggling to regain control, not just over his emotions, but over himself. With an intense longing for a woman, it's not just a fleeting crush or surface-level attraction. It's a deep, powerful emotion, strong enough to shake the very control he has always maintained. This turns his entire belief system upside down, forcing him to confront emotions in an unfamiliar, even frightening way. He doesn't know how to handle it, doesn't know if he can control it, and in most cases, his instinctive reaction is to withdraw. This silence is not because he doesn't care, nor does he want to ignore her. On the contrary, it is because his emotions are too strong, real, and difficult to manage. He needs time to understand and regain control over them. Unfortunately, this is also the moment when many relationships begin to crack, not because the feelings have faded, but because this silence is often misinterpreted as indifference or emotional distance. When a woman feels abandoned, her natural response is to seek reassurance, a reason, a signal, a commitment that he is still there, that her emotions are real and not just a figment of her imagination. But ironically, the more she tries to pull him closer, the more questions she asks, the more she seeks certainty, and the more he pulls away. Not only is he already overwhelmed by his own emotions, but the pressure of her expectations makes him even more confused. To the woman, this withdrawal feels like coldness, proof that he doesn't care. But in reality, for the man, it is an internal battle. He doesn't know if he can meet her expectations, and he doesn't know if moving toward her means losing himself. And so, caught in the turmoil of emotions and pressure, he chooses the safest thing, keeping his distance. For many men, their sense of self-worth isn't solely tied to emotions or relationships. It is deeply connected to their career, success, and ability to provide value to the world around them. They grow up believing that a real man isn't just someone who knows how to love, but can protect, provide, and create stability for the woman he chooses to be with. Because of this, when a man meets a woman he truly wants to be with, his emotions go beyond attraction or desire. They come with an overwhelming sense of responsibility. He doesn't just think, "I like her." Instead, he asks himself, "Can I give her what she deserves? Am I good enough, successful enough, strong enough to be worthy of her? If I enter this relationship, can I remain true to myself, or will I fail?" These questions don't always have immediate answers, and that uncertainty makes him hesitate. Men don't typically share their fears or insecurities easily, especially regarding their self-worth. They don't want to admit that they are doubting themselves to the woman they love. So instead of voicing these worries, their instinctive response is often to pull away, not because they don't care, but because they need space to find the answers, to ensure that when they return, they can be the man they aspire to be. A woman must understand that a man's silence isn't always a sign of indifference or a lack of interest. Sometimes, it is simply how he processes an emotional storm he hasn't yet learned how to put into words. He doesn't disappear because he no longer loves. He steps back because he is trying to find a balance between heart and mind, between emotion and responsibility. And in this very moment, a woman's response can change everything. If she panics, worries, and constantly demands attention and reassurance, it only adds to his pressure, pushing him further into retreat. But if she does the opposite, if she remains calm, exudes confidence, and refuses to be drawn into the chaos of silence, something incredible happens. He will realize she does not depend on his reactions to define her self-worth. She does not panic or desperately cling to him. Instead, she remains steady, grounded, and true to herself. That very strength eases his fears, making him respect her more and drawing him in with her confidence and independence. At that moment, instead of running away, he will feel an irresistible pull to return, not just because he is attracted to her, but because he is drawn to the stability she embodies. Men don't want to be needed. They want to be desired. Men do not seek relationships where they become the sole pillar of support, where their existence is the only thing that makes their partner feel whole. They don't want to be needed in a desperate way, as a lifeline for a woman who cannot stand on her own. Instead, they truly desire to be wanted, but in a way that allows them to feel respected, maintain their freedom, and preserve their sense of self. They want to know that they can step into a relationship without being burdened by obligation or pressure, but rather, they can choose to stay simply because they genuinely want to. A man will never feel fulfilled with a woman because she cannot live without him. But if he knows that she can be happy, strong, and independent on her own, yet she still chooses him, then that is when he feels truly valued. This is why a woman's response when a man pulls away can make all the difference. If she panics, clings to him, changes herself to please him, or constantly tries to prove that she needs him, it does not make him feel more loved. Instead, it makes him feel pressured, trapped, and more inclined to withdraw. But if, instead of panicking, she continues living her life, staying joyful, pursuing her passions, and remaining true to herself without depending on his presence, he will start to see her in a new light. He will realize that she is not a fragile woman who needs a man to fill a void in her life. She is a strong, independent woman with her own value, someone who is not easily shaken by his withdrawal. And that is precisely what will draw him back. Not because she is playing mind games, but because, at a deep, instinctual level, men are naturally drawn to women who can be happy without clinging to anyone. When a woman makes it clear that she chooses him, not out of necessity, but out of genuine desire, he will feel truly valued. And that is one of the most powerful factors that keep a man committed to a relationship. One of the biggest mistakes people make in relationships is placing their self-worth in the hands of others. They measure their value based on how someone treats them, whether a message is replied to or ignored, whether a call comes or doesn't, and whether they receive praise or indifference. They believe that if someone cares about them, they are worthy. If someone leaves them, they become meaningless. But this is a dangerous trap, because it makes their happiness and self-esteem entirely dependent on external validation. Your worth does not come from whether someone texts you back, prioritizes you, or gives you special attention. Your value does not fluctuate based on who enters or exits your life. Your worth exists independently, firmly, without needing validation from anyone. It cannot be taken away or given. It is something you recognize and uphold within yourself. When a woman understands this, she transforms from within. She no longer worries about whether someone likes her or values her. She no longer feels the need to please others just to be accepted. Instead, she shifts her focus to herself, to becoming a better, stronger, and happier version of who she is. And this transformation changes everything: how she speaks, how she walks, and how she sees the world around her. She radiates a natural, effortless confidence when she no longer seeks external validation. It's not a forced sense of strength or a facade of self-assurance. It's the confidence that comes from truly knowing her worth. Men and everyone around her will sense this. Nothing is more captivating than a woman who knows she doesn't need anyone to complete her. She doesn't cling to love. She doesn't panic when someone walks away. And she never compromises her value for attention. This is when something truly magical happens. She no longer has to chase love, because love naturally finds its way to her. Not because she needs it, but because she shines in a way others cannot ignore. People are always drawn to those who exude confidence, those who do not rely on external validation to feel whole, or who do not define their worth by whether someone chooses them. A truly magnetic person does not try to please everyone or seek to impress. It is someone who knows their value and feels no need to prove it. When you realize this truth, you will no longer fall into the trap of desperation in love or relationships. You will no longer see yourself as the pursuer, constantly trying to do everything to make someone stay. Instead, you will walk with unshakable confidence, knowing your worth is not in anyone else's hands. This doesn't mean you become cold or indifferent to love. You refuse to trade your self-respect for someone's attention. You don't beg for love. You don't plead for affection. And you don't lose yourself just to be chosen by someone else. And the magic is this: the moment you stop chasing, pause, and focus on yourself, on the things that bring you joy, on the life you truly love, you become more attractive than ever. Because when you no longer need to be chosen, you become the one everyone wants to choose.